Hello students, continuing to the chapter The Rise of Nationalism in Europe. Today we are going to deal with the section The Making of Nationalism in Europe. So here it is very important to understand what was the social situation in Europe at that time. So in Europe at the time no nation states were there. No nation states were there. That means the concept of that we are one, we all are united, that concept was not there. And no sense of political unity. People were bonded just by one tie, and that was we are belonging to this king, we have to be loyal to this king. Otherwise, no sense of political unity was there. And why it was not there? Because at that time, if you will see the situation of Europe, it was having so many diversification, like the language, culture, tradition, religion, all these things. It is means small territories were comprising of all these differentiations. Like for example, it is given in your book about Habsburg Empire, about the Hungary. In Hungary, almost 50% of population was saying an Magyar language, and another 50% they were saying different speaking different language. Similarly, in Croatia, aristocracy was speaking that Polish language, and other people were speaking different language. So likewise, so many diversifications were there, which does not make, which means according to such diversification, it was difficult to create the sense of unity that we all are one. That sense was not developing in European people. So till 18th century, no concept of nation state was there. Now come to the aristocracy and the new middle class. So aristocracy, that is the monarchic, the king, then peasants. And what this new middle classes? This new middle class, this term new, it is used. Why? Because earlier only two sections were there, aristocracy and peasantry. But after industrial revolution, this middle class emerged. So this was developing at the time. This was new. That is why new middle class, this word is used. So what is aristocracy? Aristocracy were the people who were ruling the territory, the people living in territory. They were Raja. Okay, in simple sense, Raja. So they were the aristocracy. Now aristocracy in complete Europe. We are talking here about complete Europe, including all the countries, France, Britain, Germany, Italy, Russia, all. Okay, so aristocracy, they were having common way of life. Means, as you can say, that living standards or the way to live life, to enjoy your life, they were having common things. Means source of enjoyment, how to spend their day, livelihood, they all are almost same. Then owned state, that means they are having property. Okay, they were having maximum property, and they were property holders. Then spoke French. Aristocracy, whether they belong to any territory, they were speaking in French. This is just to maintain their standard or whatever, but likewise the aristocracy were using French. Then connected by ties of marriage. This aristocracy of one place was connected to another place because of ties of marriage. That means the king of one territory, he has given his daughter for marriage to another territory's prince. Likewise, they were having strong foundation. They were all somehow related to each other because of ties of marriage. Then small in number, yes, aristocracy were small in number, few, but they were controlling a huge population. They were small in number but controlling a large population. So this is about aristocracy. Now come to the peasantry. Peasantry, they were majority in population. Okay, they were more in numbers and controlled by small in numbers. Who were they? They were the aristocracy. Now if we talk about peasantry, there we can find one thing, that in Western Europe, peasantry were having small lands, means small land owners they were, or there the concept of tenants were there, means working on the rent. Okay, so in Western Europe, small owners and tenants were there, But in Eastern Europe, we can find the serfdom system a lot. Serfdom system, that means the Das Pratha. Okay, so this we can find more in Eastern Europe. Now, new middle class, I already explained you why this term new is used, because of industrial revolution. This middle class emerged after industrial revolution, that is why this word new is used. Then they were educated, they were liberal, because they were professionals, so the concept of reasoning was there, and they were demanding for liberty. They want, their idea was having national unity. They want to create nation states, so they were demanding for national unity. And one of the most important thing, they were demanding for abolition of aristocracy. They were not in support of privileges given by birth. So this was their main demand: national unity and abolition of aristocracy. Now come, what is liberal nationalism stand for? So liber word, that is that's meaning is free. Okay, this word liber means free, and this is derived from a Latin word. Now we have to see here political liberty, economical liberty, and here we will come across a very important term, that is sovereign. Okay, so let's come to the political liberty. So at the time, industrial revolution, because of industrial revolution, industries were flourishing. Since industries were flourishing, so the goods were, means industries, what happened, industries used to produce goods. When goods were produced, you need market for that, you have to sell that into the market. So likewise, political demand for political and economical liberty raised. So who people were involved behind raising this demand? Definitely they will be industrialists. Industrialists demanded for political and economical liberty. Now what is political liberty? So according to these people, political liberty is equality before law. Like we have seen earlier that the aristocracy, they were enjoying power, they were not they were giving punishment according to their wish. So they were demanding that it must be equal, laws must be equal for all. There must be no discrimination between rich and poor, whether they belong to nobility, aristocracy, or they belong to peasantry or middle class. The equality of law must be there. Then freedom of individual, as the term liberal indicates, liberal, okay, freedom, free. So freedom for individual, because at that time people were not free to do, they were having so many restrictions which were imposed by aristocracy. So individual freedom they were demanding. Then end of autocracy, as I already told you here, that national unity and abolition of autocracy. So this liberal nationalism, that is again the third demand, is the end of autocracy. And next one is when constitution, okay, setting up a constitution, when constitution will be there, it will limit the power of aristocracy. Okay, so they were demanding for constitution setup, a parliamentary form of government to limit the power of aristocracy. And then likewise, all these demands were there regarding political liberalism. Now we will come to the economical liberalism. So economically, as I told you, that industries were flourishing, so goods were producing, they want to sell their goods in nearby territories. But at that time, because territories were so small and different autocrats were there, so it was very difficult to take goods from one place to another place. Why? Because if one industrialist, he want to sell his good from this territory to that territory, he has to pass through so many territories, and he has to pay custom duties, tariff barriers and all. And these are the problems associated to duties and all. One more problem was there at that time, different areas were having different measurement units. Like in your book it is given about alley. Alley is a measurement of cloth, okay, means measurement of length. So at that time Ali measures something different at one area and the measurement is different in another area. Now you can think how problematic it could be for any merchant, because here now current days 1 meter means 1 meter, 1 centimeter means 1 centimeter. But if you think 1 centimeter, if one territory it will be reduced to this and in another territory it is longer to this, so how problematic it would be. Okay, so the same problem was there faced by industrialists or merchants or traders because of difference in weights and measurements. So economically they were facing this problem, that so many tariff barriers they have to pay, and this measurement standard measurements were not there, and simultaneously restrictions on the goods. It is not like that every territory was giving permission to pass the goods from their area. Okay, so movement of goods was also very difficult at that time for merchants. So all these problems they were facing, so that is why they were demanding for a unified economic territory. Okay, because it was their loss and industrialization that is flourishing and they want to sell their goods. That is why the demand of unifying economic territory has raised. So which led to the formation of Zollverein. Okay, so this was a solution, creation of unified economic territory. With this the solution was on the way. So it is a custom union. What Zollverein is, it is actually a custom union that is formed in 1834. Zollverein was formed in 1834 and it was the Prussia who initiated this concept, and later on other European countries joined it. So what were the achievements of Zollverein, what you can say, when Zollverein formed? So what solution, what remedies it has suggested, it has created? So at that time so many currencies were there, like 30 currencies were there. So it was very difficult for merchants to carry all these currencies, different territories having different currencies, so they have to pay in that particular currency. So managing all these currencies and carrying currencies was very difficult. So Zollverein reduced from 30 currencies to 2 currencies. Okay, 30 से 2 तक लेकर के आए. So it was now easier for traders to manage. Carrying 2 currency is easier rather than carrying 30 currencies. Similarly, uniform weights and measurement, because we have seen that was a problem, that difficulty merchants were facing. So uniform weights and measurements they have suggested. Then they have reduced the tariff barriers. What they have to means, whatever problems we have seen here in economical liberalization, demand of economical liberalization, or all that solution Zollverein has created. Currency, then restriction of movement, that also they make easier. Then reduction of tariff barriers, all that they have reduced. So these are all the achievements of Zollverein, which led industrialists to grow up. Okay, so this is how setting of Zollverein, a custom union, was helpful for industrialists to sell their products, and likewise industrial revolution become more successful in Europe. That's all for the day. We will continue with next topic in our next video. Thank you.